3 years, people. 3 years.
And we're still late. We still have not learned how to get here on time.
And there's 7 of us, but only 5 of us are here. One already said he'd be late, Hannibal. But that's how it rolls. But then we had Tom Kelly. He was in here and he left and he said, Mike, I have a new computer. It's working great. I got to go, but I'll be back. And he left. And so he'll be back, we hope. But 3 years, you guys. I said, by the way, before I introduce everybody, and you know them all anyway, but in case you're new here and don't, but before I do, I got to tell you, I sent Kim a text today. I said, can you believe this has been going for 3 years? I said, that's longer than most marriages lasted. And she texted me back, I want a divorce.
And she gets high.
I was like, I think I replied back, no.
Not allowed.
Denied.
You know, the thing is, I think for the first 2 years, she was really faithful. And in the 3rd year, she just started skipping stuff.
No, I didn't.
Ooh. Kim's here all the time.
No, remember? She for the first year or two, she didn't miss a single show. Single. Because we used to say that all the time.
She was Iron Woman. I remember that.
Yeah.
She still is, dude.
No, she's missed some now.
Not
She had
many.
a Cal Ripken streak going on for a while.
She's.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, I got. I might. I'll say this.
3.
She might have been present more than me.
Well, we expect that out of you, though.
But I mean, I've missed very few too. Anyway, you guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We wouldn't be here without you. Thank you, everybody who's participated. I was going to make a list and have it scrolling across the bottom of the guests that have been on, but I was like, screw that, because I was scrolling through that whole thing. I have a playlist of all the roundtables, and I was like, screw this, dude. I don't even know if it'll fit in 2,000 characters, which is the extension, the limit of how much can scroll at the bottom. So I just have to say thank you, everybody. And if you come in tonight, obviously we'll give you a shout out because, and we'll be very active with the chat too. But there's just way too many to list. I mean, pretty much everybody in this space at one point or another, I feel like, has joined us here, with the exception of very few. But and thank you all the panelists. Wait, there's Tom Kelly. Oh. Knock knock. Oh, come on in.
Got him.
Okay. So we're just waiting on Hannibal. For now, Hannibal's a mystery, but he'll be here. But thank you, and thank you all of you in the chat and everything. Obviously, first of all, got Kim's side money plans. I could not ask for a better co-host. You guys, right as Gary's dissing on her and saying she's missed stuff, and I don't even know what he's talking about, but I couldn't. No.
I'll go back through the episodes and find the Thursday she's missed.
Okay. We have Cheyenne, Gig Work Mama. We have John Dash Theories here tonight. And we have Tom Kelly is with us. We have Gary Zapps with us. You guys know Gary, GaryZapps.com. And then we will have Hannibal. You guys hearing an echo?
Yeah.
Tom, we got an echo.
It's me. Okay,
Echo
I'm
Charlie.
good now.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I had to come up with a topic for tonight because I wanted to do a couple things. I didn't want to have this be a best of. I didn't want to have this be a reunion. I wanted to do a normal kind of episode. And so I put some good stories together that I've been talking about a little, that I talked about on the podcast this week, other things, but ones that all of us can relate to no matter where we're at right now. Here's the title for tonight: Scamming, Fraud, Wage Theft versus Transparency, Care, Humanity. So, which side are you on, guys? Oh, we got Mr. Ed Van Ness. We'll get to the chat here in a minute. He did say he would come in and bust my. They have a show called the Taxi Stand Hour every Sunday morning. It's those guys are really funny. There's 3 of them over there, and thank you, Ed, for joining us. Appreciate that. Okay, so welcome everybody. Let's go through the live chat here real quick. See who's here while we're waiting for Hannibal. What's up, Joe? You got Lake Fall Studios. What's up, Mars? What's up, Gary? I'm still hearing echo.
Yeah, I do as well.
What up, Josh? And Thomas Mathis. Hi, Kim. Hi, Cheyenne. Hey, Bud Soda. Late on the anniversary. Okay. Well, yeah, we're late. As it was said backstage, it's all on me. So, Traveler, what's up? Hey, Christopher Taylor, thank you very much for that. Oops. Hey, Becky Harris, how you doing? Anthony Terry, how are you? TFT, how you doing? And John Dash Theory, what's up? Ivanaska, what's up? Christopher Taylor, thank you for that on Kim too. Appreciate you always. And Gator, what's up? So Gator's been doing a lot of B2B last mile stuff like I do on Curry, but like all over the country. So this guy like moves around quick. He does have a channel too, you guys. Check it out if you're into B2B. Let's see who else is in here. Gigan, what's up? I still hear an echo. And I can't blame Hannibal because he just got here. What's up, Hannibal?
I'm on mute.
No, you're not. You just talked.
No, you're not. You just talked.
What?
My sister says hello. Is she hot? No, just kidding. That's why he's saying that, because I went in there and said a joke about it. Gigwise, what's up? He's saying Hannibal was probably hungry. Probably. I swear I'm hearing an echo.
I'm working on it.
Oh, is it you?
I guess. All my stuff says I'm muted.
You're not.
Maybe you don't have echo turned off.
We're talking to you.
There, whatever you just did, I think fixed it for a second.
Is it fixed now?
No.
No.
Now it is.
I didn't do anything. Okay.
Let's see, where are we at? Hey, Michael A20. And Bubba Sue. Who else we got in here? Ron. Oh, we got lots of the country represented here tonight. I sound like Lou Gehrig at Yankee Stadium. Wow, I don't know how to take that actually. Hey, Kimmy, how you doing? Represented Chicago. And John, how you doing from St. Pete?
Hey, St. Pete's my favorite part of Florida. Got one of the best Cuban sandwich places right on the beach.
Ooh,
Man, you sure love getting out of Florida though.
No.
So that's it. What's up, Hannibal?
What's going on? I miss you guys.
Hey, Hannibal.
Been a while, huh?
Yeah,
I'm doing very well. Busy as always, but I'm doing good.
So now that Hannibal's here, actually, before we jump into any of this, because I want to ask Hannibal, because I saw his video last night. By the way, guys, Hannibal's had a complete success on YouTube, a different success. I mean, it's just crazy. But I saw your video yesterday, the end, and I've been, that I somewhat from the outskirts am following that story. But man, it's been going on forever. But then she runs and she loses. Is it the end? Are you out of Tiff Henyard material?
No, it just keeps going and going. I think it's been almost 2 years. I've been like,
and that's why it blows my mind, because I see your lives. I see thousands of people in there.
Yeah, I mean, my gig work now is covering ratchet people. So that's my I cover the ratchetness. That's my gig. That's how
it's a double full-time gig.
Yeah. So it just keeps going and going. It's bizarre. I can't even explain it. I'm surprised I've been covering.
I mean, you could keep doing mayors just alone around the country, but you've been able to stick with Tiff Henyard. And like, I was going to point something out. I actually didn't pull it up, but yesterday one of the days you had a video that had more views than WGN in Chicago on Tiff Henyard one day.
Yeah, I think because most of us YouTubers jumped on early before a lot of the local news did. So, and also since these people were so desperate for attention, there was certain information that I was able to bring out before the news had it. So it was a very unique situation. Like most news stories, usually it gets broken by local news. But now I get emails from places all across the country. People are saying, talk to about this mayor. They're doing going crazy over here. Someone is stealing. Someone's doing this and that. So it's a lot. But Tiffany Hayard is definitely a unique situation. She is crazy. I mean, that's
I saw this. I mean, what'd she get? 12% of the vote,
right?
So this crazy woman. If you guys don't follow the story, Hannibal can probably sum it up quicker than me. But she actually, after all this nightmare, runs again, and I'll leave it to him to just put a quick on that
character. And she doesn't stop. She just keeps going. I think she's a bit delusional. I guess if you watch Parks and Rec or Veep, just kind of mentality. It seems like she doesn't understand the damage that she's been doing and how disrespectful she is to the people that she's supposed to be serving. So it's comical, it's emotional, it's also the area is kind of wacky too. I mean, I don't know if anyone here is from the Midwest.
Oh yeah,
it seemed like you guys are cool, but I don't know what's going on. Water, but they are very aggressive. I don't know if it's just like that yin and yang of being really nice and sweet, but then also if you get them upset, they get really, really mad. So there's fist fights, literally been happening.
Yeah.
Town hall meetings. It is bizarre, and I'm from Brooklyn.
With the mayor at that. With the mayor at that. Not
dude,
even,
I mean, to put it into some perspective, for those of you that know anything about this landscape at all, they had Tiffany Henyard investigated by Lori Lightfoot, who is a criminal herself. So it's like
it's bizarre.
You're having a criminal investigate a criminal, and you're paying the criminal to investigate the criminal.
Takes one to know one.
And maybe I'm wrong, Hannibal, but I believe that I believe Lori Lightfoot came back and said Tiffany's a criminal.
Right. Then before it came out this month that the Inspector General of Chicago blasted her and Brandon Johnson for not being transparent of what they were doing. So it's I don't know, it's just Illinois. I don't know. It's entertaining, but it's also pretty sad when you think about it. But also, my mayor in New York City, he's indicted too. So what? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Hannibal's got a great niche now with the. I mean, if you just want to, if you want to do some stuff on dirty politicians, it's never ending. you got work forever.
Content just keeps coming. So yeah,
that's a fact.
As long as it's ratchet, like it has to be ratchet and drama filled. Usually, those videos perform the best.
So what's up, Geezer? Thanks for bringing the funk tonight. Appreciate you always. What's up, Derek? Can we speak on the year no tax on tips? I don't think I can't yet. I can't with any kind of anything more than anybody else has heard, which I am probably I would love that, but I don't see that happening. So I'm not of the opinion that that's really going to happen. But we'll see. Later, Ed. Peace. Thank you for stopping by the way. Okay. So let's go. Yeah. Traveler says he loves your channel. I mean, everybody was watching your channel. And for those that are new to the gig economy, if you're not checking it out, check it out. Hannibal's always been funny. And so here's the first topic. It's just a softball one. The Epstein files were released. I'm just kidding. No, they really were, but we're not going to talk about it.
I'm like, that came out of like left field.
Did you see that was released today, though?
I saw it. I haven't watched anything
not.
on it.
I'm actually looking forward to looking into
saying
it.
Something about there's a file, but
no, they released like I've got a link to it. I guess somebody sent me like a real deep link, but there's stories out all over. But sent me like a link of like some really. I want to go through and read this.
Steve, were you able to get Gary's name off of it, or did it?
Yep, I used the Hillary. I used Hillary Clinton approved bleach bit. But they released, from what I heard, they released everything. They released flight records, days when like the minors they have records of getting on them, all kinds of shit. Wow. So we'll see. It's not going to be good for, I'll say this, it's not going to be good for a lot of people. And I hate to tie one thing to the other, but just to put a close to that real quick, everybody hear about Gene Hackman? Rest in peace, Gene Hackman. He passed away today.
Him
Weird death. Him, his wife, and his dog found dead in their house. And no, I'm not saying nothing, but I sure hope his name is not in the Epstein files.
Hopefully.
Well, because if it is, it really is going to kind of speak volumes to me.
No, they had no external injuries. This was a gas or something that.
Okay.
Yeah. This was not like.
Yeah, they said no foul play or anything was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is just a sad something. And besides, the guy's 95 years old.
He didn't have his batteries on his what? On his his smoke detectors to detect
on CO,
carbon monoxide.
Yeah, CO detectors.
Okay. Okay, so I want to get to this incognito report, but I do want to ask, since we got everybody here tonight, I want to get through a couple things, and I got a last question that I want to ask everybody that'll kind of maybe bring us all, see where we're all at. But these kind of represent a lot of the things that we talked about during everybody's time here, from the time that we started when Hannibal was here and then John coming on, and these were all regulars. And again, we thank everybody who's joined us, but Colorado transparency passed. You guys all know this. So we're seeing something different. We didn't get a minimum wage or this or that, and we're not trying to modify for those, but the companies fought this state harder than any other state because they're fine with paying a minimum wage and coming up with some lowball numbers to screw drivers over. But when they had to actually show some transparency, that became a whole different game. So we've always wanted transparency here. And I was on the Gig Economy podcast, and Jason Thierry asked me, how does his question exactly go? Are you happy with the transparency law? And here's my thing. I'm kind of with Tom. I'm not for legislation, period. I am definitely not big government. I don't want your hand in my pocket. It already is too much. But I think that all the states are going to get, all of them are going to get legislation, and probably all this year. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming. I think that of those legislations, ours is the cleanest, and even though it threatened the companies the most, I think that I'm like okay with the decision, but I'm not stoked that we had to go to legislation, because legislation is never a closed door. So now that it's open, anything else could be brought in later. And then in fact, that's, where was I seeing this? That, now one of the places, it's Minnesota. Now Minnesota is fighting for, after all that stuff that passed, they're still not happy. So now they're saying, we need unions. Well, we knew that was coming. See, that's the part I don't want to get to, is like that kind of thing. Like, well, we just give up. This didn't work. Well, okay. So I guess
hasn't every state so far that's had regulation always came back and wanted more?
Yeah, but every state wanted a dollar amount too.
Right. Well, I'm saying, like, California, they got the Prop 22 and stuff. Now they're saying, well, that's not really what we wanted, blah, blah, blah. Now we want to renegotiate this. Minnesota, same thing. Seattle, I have a few Seattle users. They're actually happy with theirs.
Except for Seattle now has a new bill passed. So when they passed the pay up legislation in Seattle, it was unanimous amongst the 13 city council members. Now there's 7 city council members who want pay up gone. They don't want to revise it. They just want to make it disappear. Out of the same 13, these are not newly elected officials. 7 of the 13 who said we must have it said we just need to abolish it. And the other 6, every place is different, but the other 6 are holding off that meeting. It's like a inverted filibuster. It's like, we're not going to let this be discussed. Like, what? And then I saw that this other lady's trying to tweak it out so that they're trying to now demand that surge. And the way that we talked about this last week, the way they were wording, it's really strange. Like, out of every 120% surge, and then they just did it out of 100. They were like, the most that the companies will be able to take is $17, and the drivers will get 83 of every $100 of surge. And they're trying to make that a thing after sporting events and whatnot. So now they're trying to like monitor the surge, have them on this thing. It's definitely hurt all the businesses. All the restaurants are suffering in Seattle. It's definitely hurt the gig workers because there's not as many of them. And the fee and the fines they're supposed to see when you do the money, the fines they're supposed to be paying are just being passed right onto the customer. And they actually have the smarts to just write it that way. They literally just wrote, hey, hey, this is the city council fee, $5. So like, I don't know. I mean, did it work? I don't really think a lot of them are working. Hannibal's where he lives, I don't think that's working.
I mean, if I want something right now to order, it'll come pretty quick. I think the fact that there's so many people here, it's really, really expensive to survive. There are people out there working, the crazy amount of hours. They have that guarantee pay. When we order, it doesn't matter from DoorDash, Uber Eats. By order, there's no tip until the end, and so they're not. Most of these drivers are not getting tipped. They're getting their $17, I guess, an hour. But I don't know I think just by necessity they have to just do work because you need. Most of us work 2-3 jobs just to pay the rent. So I'm sure they're not happy with this. I know recently it was news about DoorDash throwing out a few million for tips that was not given. I guess
Oh yeah. That's the next one.
Yeah.
Remember on Hannibal's though, the biggest complaint I see on drivers on that is the schedule's limited. So if you're not that platinum tier or whatever, you're just out of luck on working, period, because all the schedules are limited.
Yeah. But I mean, on top of that, what we're going to get into with this DoorDash thing, and then an Uber Eats story too, is well, some of the illegal accounts being taken down. But there's a real kind of joke and whatever behind it. Everybody in all of the chats, I'm posting. Since Michelle has been like kind of a fill-in every time we've needed her, she's been awesome, and I would do this anyway. But I'm putting the two. I hope they go right. They should go into all of them. These are the two groups that Michelle runs. And yeah, you guys have been asking me. So those are the two Facebook groups. One is the Drivers Pro. One is the other one. That's 250,000 active users in the two together. So Michelle, that's a shout out for you. But yeah, the DoorDash tip theft is, let's start there, I guess. John, are you familiar with the DoorDash, with this?
Yeah, with this whole case and how they used to do the tips. I started DoorDash when they used to have the $5 minimums and they used to do the subsidized tips. That was the original way I do it.
Yeah.
I'm of the, I understand why people wanted to get their full tips, but I don't think they wanted the outcome of what happened with the lowered base pay. They wanted their full tips on top of the $5 minimum, but
right. And again, what they found here was basically, so for those that don't know,
already knew.
In California, in Chicago, or in Illinois, in California, this already happened. And in California or in Illinois, I believe that it was more than twice as much as what New York got. That was a big one. Here's the deal, though. New York this is new. This is from February 24th. DoorDash to pay New York delivery workers $17 million for using tips to cover wages. So what they were doing was, like John said, they were showing you the base pay. And then we all know that was during that hidden tip era. Like, oh, well, there will be a hidden tip on it. But if somebody tipped $15 and the base pay showed you $5, you weren't going to be paid $20. You were going to be paid $15.
Yeah,
you were going to only get the tip and not 1 cent from DoorDash.
Yeah.
And
I can't believe they actually tried that though. That's what amazes me, because Uber got caught for the same thing. Amazon got caught for the same thing. Like, why would DoorDash even try this? Like,
well, here's the other thing. So DoorDash has let out some really stupid comments about all this too. And I'm just luckily, like, I'm glad I talked to a lot of politicians and lawmakers and stuff now, because I'm trying. We brought people up to speed on how things are, but now I get to tell them this whole news story about, guess what? Your state is owed a bunch of money because this code that ran from May of 2016 to September of 2019 in the DoorDash code they're not even denying it. It ran in every state they were operational in. So every state from that time period had your drivers had theft for the entire time. It's time to sue DoorDash. They're not even going to court. They're just settling everyone to put the story to bed. So 3 states have gone, 47 more can sue DoorDash for at least $10 million. Do it today.
It's like free money.
Okay,
It is free money. And that's for that. Then they got these other things going starting soon from 2020 on.
Okay, so do we know when the last time it happened?
What do you mean?
So if they're talking about the old school, the format.
When did this stop, or is it still going on? Do we know any of that?
Well, that's so through May 2017, sorry, not 2016, through September of 2019. So they're saying September of 2019 is when they're admitting we changed the code.
So
that's also, but so September. So I'll try to explain this. The best way I remember it is that the way when it stops is when they change their base pay model from having that $5 minimum guarantee. So the way when I first started door dashing it worked is they had a $5 minimum guarantee. So meaning that if somebody tipped, we'll use $10 for the example, what they would do, let me just start with, if somebody tipped no dollars, if somebody tipped $0, you still get $5. If somebody tipped $10, they would reduce it by $3. So the first $3 of the customer's tips would make up that $5. So you would still get the $2 technically base pay from DoorDash. And then that say $10 tip would be technically just a $7 tip after they subsidize those $3. So you're getting, if it was a $5 base pay and a $10 tip, instead of $15, you're getting $12.
That's
The
crazy.
funniest part about all this is, though, that they're not even denying it. They're not even saying like, oh, we don't know what happened.
That was
like,
the pay model. That was literally the pay
like,
model.
we knew what we were doing. It's like, wait a minute.
That's what I said, though. Uber and Amazon both were sued before DoorDash for the same exact thing back in 2017. Because I actually got a payout from Amazon for stolen tips.
I'm assuming those settlements, the sentiments are probably just a drop in the bucket. Like the,
Mine was a few thousand.
My question
Really?
is this a new thing that's going on? Or are we still talking about?
I think so. I think this is just
It's just starting
they pushed
now.
it out.
They're like, this lawsuit's from this week.
The actual stealing of the tips was from 2017 to 2019, but
Okay.
they're just now being sued for it.
Okay, but they're not saying it's happening again.
correct.
But there are
How do
states
we
who are
know?
going to be doing this same lawsuit from 2020 to 2023 that I already know about. It's maybe a little tweaked out or different, but yeah, they're still saying no. There's still stolen tips from these 3 years.
I've heard about those states. So yeah.
So all I'm saying is every state catch up quick. Get your 2017 to 2019 money quick. And then, you'll be suing them again soon when you see the next round come up.
Yeah,
But here's my thing. 10 million or 17 million. California, it was like 42 million. It was like 37 in Illinois. I know every state won't be that volume, but that's not dropping the bucket money. And if you get every state to sue them for those years, and then there's more coming, doesn't that change the valuation a little bit? It actually does.
I'm assuming that, but like what Gary said, they knew they were doing it was wrong. So why would you do it? So like my idea was, well, they're doing it because they're making so much money over here that they can settle and have these payouts because they've made so much money on one end that they didn't care. They're like, well, if we get caught, we'll settle for the 17 million because we made so much more money from here. Like, is 17 million exactly the amount of money that was stolen? Probably not. It probably was more, but they settled for the 17. So that's what my idea was.
Okay, so for the sake of argument, let's call it 20 million times 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what are you talking about? $1 billion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot.
Let's say they took $1 billion and they've only paid out 3 states.
Yeah.
Correct. How much interest can you make on $1 billion between 2019 and 2025?
I don't know, but maybe enough to cover the lawsuits if these states keep waiting.
I think you pretty much could, right? By the time you got all the settlements done, you've more than covered it with the interest that you made off the $1 billion that you.
Smart, yeah.
But that's why I'm saying pull the
that's
trigger.
that
Do
was-
it. Every state, pull the trigger. Do it right now. Because I don't
we
think a
know
lot of
that was Uber's gameplay, though. Remember that was Uber's gameplay. Just screw the system, and we'll pay whatever later because we make so much off interest.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just know that the way that all these articles are, I thought the same thing in Illinois. When I saw the New York one, I thought the same thing. And I'm thinking, man, the way that even DoorDash is wording it, which they normally are no comment or something just rude and ridiculous, but the way that they're even wording it is we understand and we fixed the problem in late September 2019. So you understand that in every state it was running this way. So why is every state not on board yet? Sue
So,
'em.
Steve, the fact that you're talking about this, it came up in a few Canadian DoorDash groups, and they were like, what about us? Did that happen to us as well?
Probably.
Most likely.
If you were
I'm
doing
sure it's the
DoorDash
same
during that time
system.
period, yeah.
But wouldn't you be different because you have a different tipping system in Canada? Like, isn't it
Like, no.
like they don't tip?
They still tip, though.
But not as much, right?
No, they still tip.
Okay, I was gonna say I thought it was like a different tipping culture in Canada.
No. It's
But even-
still,
but
like,
even
if
so,
you go
whatever
somewhere,
they
it's like
did tip,
15%
the fact that-
minimum.
the fact they're doing it, I mean, Shania's right. It's probably the same. It's probably, I mean, I don't know, but it's probably the same code in Canada that they were
Yeah.
running here on how they were doing this.
Because a few people were asking, they're like, what about us? I'm sure it affects us. And I'm like, it's true.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll get to that. I'm just trying to warn every state, like, guys, sue it. This isn't even this is a no-brainer. I mean, this is a call it in win. This is a no. But okay, so I let's jump to this. I want to jump to this. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. This, if you guys remember, I had Incognia's CEO on a while back, and he was explaining pretty well, like, how facial recognition doesn't work. And he was explaining why. And he was saying why the turning thing isn't like, the turning thing is not doing anything with your face, nothing. When I do this, it's not doing anything with this side, and this, nothing with this side. It's just showing movement of reality. That's it. They don't have side pictures on you. Somebody goes, and then it goes, those are not actually doing anything at all. It's just showing a real movement as opposed to Uber's straight on looking. And he said none of them work. And Incognia is now in over 70 million devices on the planet. Whether you want it on your phone or not, it's in there. If you have DoorDash, Uber Eats, any of those as a customer or a Dasher or Uber Eats person or a driver or whatever, Incognia is on your phone now. There's nothing you can do about it. It's on your phone because they are doing like phone habits and other types of techniques to really learn if it's you. So instead of it being like, hey, this is the stupid, hey, let's do the facial profile. I mean, you guys remember I put duct tape over my mouth during the pandemic and it let me onto Uber. I mean, it's not working, guys. That's just a joke. So Incognia has been onto this, and they are working with all the companies now. And they did this study. I think this is super interesting. And here's what they found for the biggest reasons of fraud for food delivery and ride hailing in 2024. So the findings show that fake accounts were used in 57% of driver side fraud. So out of all the fraud claims, 57% of it was fake accounts. And this is kind of interesting because we talk about this a lot, and we always wonder how this has to have a high cost to the business. So on the consumer side, the refund and promotion abuse were the top fraud type, representing 48% of the problem. So like refund and promotion, I always wondered about this. Like if somebody delivers my food and it's not them, and I call them, they're like, "This one's on us, and here's $40." I mean, they're just throwing this fake money around all the time. So here we go. And now Incognia, who's working with these companies and saying your security sucks, we're going to get involved. They're saying, well, here, look, 57% of your drivers or of the fraud problems, 57% are fake accounts. 48% on the consumer side are abusing your refund policies.
I could have told him that without without a program.
I know, but could you have done that percentage? Can you believe it's that high?
No.
I mean,
I'm
that's
surprised it isn't higher, honestly.
I could believe it. I could believe it. Yeah.
Really? That's really high.
yeah.
Customers are customers. People are terrible. You see, they find ways. If they can find a way to get a free meal, they're going to take it.
And we've talked about this. I mean, look, they taught the consumers how to steal. It's almost like they did, like that first time you call and Uber, like whoever, and you're like, hey, you know, my food never showed up. And they're like, well, hey, we'll pay for that. And here's another free one on us. And actually the food did show up like 5 minutes later. And they're like, wonder if I can do this every time. Like they were basically training them is how I look at it.
I just think about all those times lately that people report like you didn't deliver like 10 items from their grocery list or 10 items were damaged and then all of a sudden they get free things. And I'm like, oh, that's part of that percentage.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. To me, that's crazy. But I'm glad Incognia is releasing it. And I'm glad that they're, you know, that they're for the first time, the companies are finally, they don't want to talk about it, but they're letting Incognia talk about it, who represents them now for security. And he's like, I had him on, and he's very, very forward, very, very nice guy. Every question I asked, he answered. He didn't dodge anything. I said, is the security good with these companies? He said, no, it sucks. And I said, does facial recognition work? He goes, nope. He goes, it's just a joke. I mean, in his own words, and he was like saying how other things will, but that's he said it's something, but he said it's really not anywhere near doing any kind of, it's not doing what everybody hopes it's doing. It's not making sure it's you. It's not, really doesn't care.
I just want to point out that me and Tom said this 2 years ago when they started rolling the facial out.
I mean, dude, I just said I was able to put duct tape over my, if I can put duct tape over my mouth, there's an issue. I mean, I saw something from even Oscar saying that she had a, you know, if she has her glasses on, they tell her to take it off. That was one of the things like he actually mentioned in that interview was that, yeah, glasses, it'll go, okay, no, when you took your picture, you didn't have the glasses on, just take those off. It can notice some things. I don't know why I didn't say take the duct tape off your mouth, but
because at the time, weren't we taking pictures because of masks? Didn't we have to, wasn't that a thing for Uber? Like you actually had to take a picture of yourself with a mask on?
Yes.
Yeah.
But see, Steve, and I'm not defending them because it still doesn't work. So let's say we draw a line from the corner of my eye to the tip of my nose. We draw another line from the corner of this eye to the tip of this nose. We draw another line across my eyes on both sides from tip to tip. Okay, we look at the angles that are there. You take the size here and all that, and you put it all together into an algorithm that gives you back a number that says this is who this person is. So we don't know what they're really looking at. Are they going to look at your eye coming down to the corner of your mouth, or the eye to the left side of your nose? Or you don't know what they're actually measuring, so you don't know what piece to cover. So covering up the mouth and still having the thing work, if it did work, that would still be okay. Covering up the mouth doesn't mean it didn't work. Now, if you hold up, you draw a stick man and you hold that up in front of your face, and they say it worked, it didn't work. Okay, but it is mathematically acceptable to not be using your mouth when doing this kind of software, because that's all. It's all about taking the measurements and the angles and putting them all together and saying, when this guy says he's Tom Kelly, there's exactly this much of an angle between the tip of his nose and so it doesn't matter how close my face is. Doesn't matter because that angle never changes.
No, they can do the depth. I understand that.
Okay, and then they can look at the size of your eyes and from nostril to nostril and all that kind of stuff. And that's how they put it together. The problem is that it doesn't account for so many different things that they. So let's say that number comes back and the number is 1 million. Okay. When you add it all together, Tom's number is 1 million. But they'll say anything between 500,000 and 1.5 million is okay. Okay, so it's because the more granular you get, the more compute power you're going to have to figure out whether or not this is a false negative.
Okay.
Am I saying it right, Gary?
I think instead is what they've just done is said, "Hey, Incognia, save us." Like,
and that's all Incognia can do right now too, is give you close enough.
well, Incognia is actually use. That's why they're in 70 million phones. They're in my phone. They're in every one of our phones on this panel. I know that without looking at your phone. Like, you didn't install Incognia, but you probably have 20 apps that have
right. But that doesn't mean that they're more. Doesn't mean that they're more efficient. They all still use the same technology.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's an imprecise technology right now. Steve, I don't think it's a whole lot different than the idea of having all the 18-wheelers on U.S. highways being run by AI or something. It's a nice.
You don't see that happening by the end of the year?
Yeah, and nor do I see facial recognition doing everything that we think it's going to do between now and whenever.
You all watch this segue. So speaking of that, Uber Eats is cracking down on all the illegal accounts, and somehow, oddly, in the past month, now it doesn't matter where you sit politically, but 30 days ago, the administration changed. We all know that. And in the last month, thousands of fake accounts have been caught, whereas the last 2 years, almost next to none were caught by Uber Eats. Uber Eats says they have been sacked by the U.S. Basically, there's a crackdown on illegal migrants, but also illegal accounts from Facebook and things like that. But Uber confirmed it has blocked thousands of accounts, of rider accounts, or driver accounts, and now they're saying. So here's my thing, though. Did some breakthrough happen 30 days ago, Gary? I mean, seriously, where they're like, "Oh my gosh, look at here's how we see the illegal accounts," or did literally the administration change and they said, "Uh-oh," and they said, "Get rid of those illegal accounts."
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. Is pressure from someone higher up than them.
Yeah,
because we know, first off, none of these companies care who's delivering what, as long as it's getting done and they're making a profit.
Right.
Yeah. That's my point. I mean, like, all of a sudden things changed. Things weren't going to be as easy for them. They're like, wait a minute. We here's all the illegal accounts. We'll get rid of them. Like, well, why didn't, for 2 years, we've all been talking about social media people. It doesn't have to be any of us. News. I mean, it wasn't mainstream everything, but everybody's kind of known. And yet now they're like, oh, wait, here they are. And I knew Gary from the programming end can say, no, they did not just stumble onto like this window of like, oh, wait, there they are. Like,
it's not like some guy just came in and said, oh, yeah, guess what? We just discovered a new algorithm we wrote. We found all these people now.
Right. And there's some of these articles.
Uber tracks a crap ton of stuff. And a lot of people don't know that. And it's stuff that they can track without even telling you. And it's all legal.
But there's a lot of respectable people right now saying that Uber specifically, and I don't know how they're going to check this, but there's a lot of people claiming they are going to get answers on this, that the illegal accounts were not, wherever it stands, were not facial recognition. I can't say that every one of those that's the case, but I would have to say that if, the conspiracy side of me kind of agrees. Like,
this is what I was talking with one of my users not too long ago about this. He never gets a facial recognition, never. And he accepts 100% of his trips.
Yep.
And he never gets it. But other people in my Discord that have the 10, 8, 7% acceptance rating, it seems like they're getting it, at least every other day.
I accept everything. I get it every day.
Yeah. Oh, you accept everything?
Andy gets it every day.
And I get it
You
every
get it every day. That's because you look like Jesus and Santa Claus mixed.
That's probably it. They keep going. Jerry Garcia? No, that guy's
But
long.
maybe it's your location. Maybe that could be it too. It could be your location.
Yeah,
Texas.
I'd say every day. Today was the first day in maybe 3 months I didn't get it.
But Tom,
Yeah,
didn't
I
you
mean, that's
didn't
all
you
they
also
can think
once
of.
tell me, or didn't you tell us that you reset your phone every day?
I do.
That might also
What,
be
reset your phone or restart your phone?
I restart.
Oh, restart shouldn't do it.
Shut it all the way
if
down.
every day it's I don't know. I was just
Yeah, because
I don't-
I do that to mine all the time too.
yeah. So
That's something you should
Which,
do.
by the way, since we're on the topic, real quick, everybody who's doing this, watching us right now, whether you're watching us live or watching us recorded, do that. It's the easiest way to stop people from hacking into your phone. Restart your phone every single day. Do it right before you go to bed or right when you get up or whatever. Do it every single day.
or else your phone blows up.
No, it's a safety security thing. Trust me.
I'll do it.
All right. So I guess this I have a final question for all of us that's going to be kind of big. But I want to hit on this first because John and Cheyenne, I want to see what you guys think of this one. So here's the title: Tesla versus Uber in an Austin showdown. Okay. Here's my thing. How much longer can fake PR hold back the growing number of Uber investors now asking, are drivers able to make a living wage? Since now they are aware autonomous has always been a lie with zero reality to any year or decade it will be real. So like if you remember, John, I'm sure you do, and Cheyenne, you might do that, 2020, 2021, 2022. Oh, we'll have full autonomous. You guys are done as drivers. That's now we got people saying decades, and everybody I've talked to has always said that. But one of the things they got by were the investors. And the investors, what I was finding out was the investors for Uber did a breakdown that in no way helps them. It like during the quarterly breakdowns, it just says drivers were paid this. But it doesn't say how many drivers. It doesn't say how many hours that was. It doesn't say were they able to make a living wage. So every time they do this, and I just want to make clear to everybody, every time Tesla or Uber says they're in a market, what they did was pay the government to be there. They are not legally testing. If it was, it would be everywhere. So they pay these governments to live test. It also makes them look better to be live testing. In a city, but they're not ready. I mean, these vehicles, we could have had a whole episode on just the hijinks of these vehicles. I mean, they're just out of control. They're nowhere near road ready. But John, Cheyenne, now that they have, there was 6% a month and a half ago that is now, and it might not sound like a huge jump, but I was looking, it's now 7.4% of investors in Uber demanding for more details on the driver and whether they can make a living wage. And Uber's is now being sued by by this small investor group that's trying to grow because they said we provide you enough information.
Well, they want to know where their money is going. It's normal. How long are you going to keep saying, oh, it's coming, until at some point in time, an investor is going to be like, okay, but where is it really? Where's my money going?
Now,
Where are the promises that you're making?
Are they trying to like increase the drivers' wages, or what's the point of the investor group? Are they trying to get this information?
Because I think we've all joked about it, but I think here's the thing: for years, many of them did not. They were believing the carrot and the stick. Autonomous is next year for real. No, full autonomous. Drivers are gone. We won't need them. And now they're looking at the reality of 20 to 30 years, there might be some driverless cities. Okay. I mean, VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing, was 100% was going to be in LA by 2022. And that stood for 4 years. And by 2022, they had one helicopter in New York. They didn't even have a prototype to the VTOL, and they had not one landing pad.
Well, I think it also comes down to there's more smaller rideshare companies starting to pop up in individual cities. And Uber's investors are probably thinking, well, if we can't keep our drivers, these other companies will.
Yeah. If I saw this, we're disconnected with chat. You guys, I'm going to go through it in this last one. We're not disconnected. I'll bring it back around. But
no, it's because the chat is funny right now. Nas had some
it's not with
very
us.
interesting
No,
delivery.
Nas
Yeah,
had a
they're having their own
customer problem.
conversation.
Okay.
Pretty funny.
But so then this week, and this is to Hannibal. So Elon or Dara, can you? I know Hannibal can appreciate this. Would you? I mean, if you were a fly on the room, do you think that Elon laughed at Dara, or do you think he waited till he left the room when Dara said, "Hey, we need to get your Teslas on, or we need to get your Teslas on Uber. We can actually get those rented out to people." And Elon said, "No, I'm good. I got it. Like, and if I want to." There's actually, I couldn't find it right before we started, but there's actually an article where he said, if I wanted to, I would just start an app called Tesla Rideshare, and I wouldn't even have to market it. It would be booming tomorrow, and I would just say it's better than Uber.
Yeah, the business model that Uber and DoorDash, a lot of these they're not exclusive services that only one company can do. Like what Gary was saying, like smaller companies that are more locally based that can understand the market of where they live can probably do it better. It's we don't necessarily need Uber and then obviously Teslas. I mean, there's already Teslas being rented out for rideshare in New York City with Revel. I think it's called Revel. Yeah, it is where you can use the Teslas to use. So you don't. Yeah, Elon doesn't need the car shower. He don't need him at all. Like he can do whatever he wants. I mean, at this point, some people think that Elon is running the country. So why would he need?
That's why I was asking you. Do you think I know he laughed, but do you like Elon has a way of sometimes not being socially maybe as appropriate as some others might be, right? So do you think he laughed in his face? Do you think he?
It's not really to do much of anything.
Hey, Steve, to kind of prove your point, this article that I'm just posting, which I don't know why it comes out multiple times, but anyway, the article I just posted is from 2020, wanting to know where all the self-driving cars are.
Well, they're
around. No, they're not.
Yeah.
Now, Tesla did say that they're planning on launching in Austin a ride sharing app.
Yeah. That's why I said the Austin. It's called. That's why I called it the Austin Showdown.
Yeah.
Because they're going there. I don't know if you saw it, but like Uber, like Elon's actually making a bid for Waymo, not because he wants their technology, but to get out of his way in California. He's bidding money for just to go, get out of my way. Stop it. You don't know what you're doing. I don't know. If I was Waymo, honestly, if I was Waymo, I'd take that deal. He's way more advanced than you. Nobody's near it. Just fold. It's all a lie. But as we run short on time, and I know how could we not with this many people and whatnot, as a final question, we'll go around. I want everybody's answer on this. So some of us might have done gig work prior to 2020, but I know for a fact, or I'm pretty sure everybody since 2020 on this panel, and probably a lot of you in the chat, have been doing gig work from pretty close to 2020. Some are new, of course, or not back that far. But if we found out that like, oh my gosh, wait, what? This was like, you just kind of zapped out of it and you were in some virtual experiment and you had to give an exit interview on what the gig economy has been 2020 to today, what would it be? Like, because we all came from different backgrounds. So Kim?
Oh, I have to go first?
Of course you do.
Oh, jeez. No pressure. God, can I get back to you on that?
No. You're the great host that co-host he cannot live without. I remember that at the very start of this.
Right. Yeah.
forever changing. That's what I would say. It's forever changing. It never stays the same. It has no app ever stays the same. No feature ever stays the same. Money never stays the same. It's always changing. That's what I would say.
But in the exit interview, overall good? Like, would you say the experience was good, bad, ugly, great?
I think you gotta. It depends on that. Oh, sorry. I'll go ahead, Kim.
No, go ahead, Gary.
Well, I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to, because we all work different apps. I'm trying to do it as the whole gig app space.
You can't do a whole gig app space because if you ask me about DoorDash or Uber Eats, I'm going to tell you it's crap. You ask me about Curry, I'm going to tell you throw that shit off a bridge. It never works. But you come to like Deliver That. It used to be good up until this year, and then this year it's kind of dying out. Zifty's great. I mean, good payouts. You see everything up front. So I mean, it really just depends on what type of gig work you're doing and where.
But it depends where you are too. I rage Curry.
Right.
I can't grab a Sifty to save my life. I've grabbed 4 in 6 months.
So you can't put gig work into a hole. I will say,
but I can. I can say the gig apps I work.
Yeah, in your market.
Yeah.
But I think it depends on basically the time of day. It depends on the day of the week. It depends on the week, the
there's
month.
So many variables. Like Kim said, there's so many variables. It's always changing.
But a server, Kim, at a restaurant goes through that too. Oh, it's the holidays. I'm gonna make more money. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, one of the biggest drinking nights of the year. So they make more money on certain nights. Oh, it's a weekend. So, I mean, that kind of goes through it too. So I guess my thing was, again, it's just think of it like an exit interview from your market.
Read that.
I don't know what.
I can't see
I don't know
that.
what he's trying to show. Yeah.
It says today, 2 trips completed, $94.78.
Nice.
That's what I said. Every market's going to be different. So, I mean, that's a hard question. You'd have to narrow that down.
Well,
to each individual gig work.
Gary, you're getting your exit interview right now. And if you try and give the best one you can, you win $100,000.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you would have to narrow it down because I do so much gig work. I have 17 different apps that are run. Some are very terrible. Some I've always beat you.
Right, but you've had your great ones. You've had the amazing.
Right,
you saw rideshare flip in one day in 2020.
Right. Well, because
you saw tips on DoorDash go to 100 a day.
Though, too. So I mean, if I'm going through the whole from my start of gig work till now, if I go back from 2015 to now, I'd say gig work sucks compared to when it first started. I mean, because back then, I mean, you was making triple the amount you would make today, easily. So I mean, today I think gig work has turned into. And I know a lot of people hate to hear this. It is meant for part-time people. It really is. Yes, you can do it full-time, depending on your market, everything like that. But if you're coming into it and you don't have a great market and you're trying to do just DoorDash or just Uber Eats or something like that, you might struggle. Yeah. So I would not suggest doing that. Run all the apps you can.
Yeah.
And everything.
Actually, that's great because that's another thing. Like if somebody's going, I quit. I still see these. I quit my job full time. I'm full time in the gig economy now. If you're doing that move, at least ease into it and learn and see that one app's not going to do it. You're going to need more apps. Learn about all that because you can't just go. You know what? Somebody told me I can rage DoorDash. Bye bye W2. So. But yeah, Tom, what's your take on it?
Well, I totally agree with Kim in the sense that it's completely different right now. Well, first of all, you said you can go back to 2020. There was no rideshare in 2020.
What?
It was pandemic year.
Okay, yeah. So March 28th of 2020 was the CARES Act, and March 29th, rideshare went from its volume to zero.
Right. Yeah. And, the whole world changed during that time. I'm going to answer a slightly different question. I think it's remarkably different pre-COVID versus post-COVID. But that gets back to what Kim is saying, though. It's always changing. And, there are some things that a year ago I thought were awful that I'm okay with now, and other things a year ago that were pretty good that I'm not as happy about at this point because I don't think they're doing it quite right. For those of you who drive Uber, a big change happened this week in every city except Denver. Every major city, Denver was excluded. Wonder why? But the rest of us who have all of our marks up high moved now into this thing called Advantage Plus, where I'll be honest, I made more money in 2 days this week than I did in any 1 week, for the last couple of months.
Fair. John, what I know you got another gig going on now too, but you still have your pulse on the gig economy. What's your take?
I'm kind of in the boat with Gary. I think it's been on a decline since 2020. Now, I think it's a tool that you can definitely use and definitely have its place. But I look at it as more of depends on how you use it. It's like a wrench. A wrench can be used to knock somebody over the head, or it can be used to basically fix a car and flip the car. So the gig economy is depending on how the person uses it. But overall, I think from 2020, of course, we know that people are making more money than they've ever made. But since then, it's been more saturated, and with inflation and costs and them not really raising the rates of how much we get paid out, overall, I see it declining since then.
Fair. And so, Cheyenne, to you from John, then I'll add in. Like I honestly do believe this. The gig economy is not going anywhere, but I'm not talking about food delivery. I'm talking about like now there's nursing apps. Now there's like different types of gig economy stuff. Like Hannibal does Rover. We'll maybe get to that here at the end. But do you think that those apps and these will all blend good together, or do you think everybody's going to have to become part-time?
Okay, so here's the thing. I've always been part-time. Unlike everyone here, I've never done this full-time. So when you were talking about how does the gig apps work now versus before, yes, I see a difference because when I go out, I'm not making as much as I used to make, but I'm also being very strategic with when I go out because I have that flexibility to do that. I'm not a full-time gig worker. As far as where the gig apps are going, they're not going anywhere. There's always going to be some type of app that comes out that people are going to jump on. And if it's not an app, it's going to be another type of gig work that's not app-based, but it's not going anywhere, which is why so many government officials or whatever are trying to, put it in a certain box and put some reglementation around it because they realize that it's kind of, a free-for-all. They're not, as we always joke around, getting the taxes that they're supposed to be getting from us. And they want to see a little bit more streamlined. So it's not going anywhere. People are always going to, it's a hustle, right? At the end of the day, they always say hustles exist. Side hustles have always existed. If it wasn't your parents that were making bread in their house and selling it to the neighbor way back in the day, well, now it's people doing laundry for other people, or as Hannibal showed a few times, cuddling. Like there's so many different things that people can do to make way It's never going to go anywhere.
Way to work that in there. Way to work that.
How's that working out for you?
Well, and then that segues us to Hannibal. So Hannibal, cuddling. Hey, hi, Marion.
I didn't
even see that.
Cuddling, Rover. I know that you have all the other things you're doing with YouTube, and I know where you want to go with your YouTube stuff, no matter what you're doing with it. And I think you're doing a great job. But Rover, is Rover any different? Because Rover is a different type of app.
Rover is pretty good depending on if you're the amount of hours you have and how amount of clients. So there's people who are making six figures taking care of dogs. That I think that goes without saying. People love their dogs more than their own kids sometimes. So taking care of animals, and it kind of goes to what I want to say about gig work in general, is that things were better when the investors were subsidizing the wages and throwing out all the bonuses and all the stuff that happened a couple of years ago. Once that subsidy went down, and then these companies had to try to find ways to make profit, they had to start exploitation, trying to find a way to either hide tips, steal tips, or whatever. the business model just seems to be about committing a crime of trying to and then paying, trying to settle settlements and trying to find ways to keep it moving. But I think when it comes to some of these apps, the ones that are the low barrier to entry are going to always have these. You're going to have these problems. But I think the gigs and the apps where you are able to have a customer base, you have a service, whether you're doing hair or you're taking care of a dog or you're a mechanic, those could be quite lucrative. Cuddling, even it didn't work for me. Like I guess I retired from that. My profile's still up. I gotta take it down.
Just FYI, Hannibal, cuddling always seemed a little sketchy. I'm glad you tried it.
The only person that reached out was a dude, and I declined to respond to that ad. So, but for the most part, the gig economy has been a positive experience. But for me, and that's the reason why I kind of stopped doing, the DoorDash stuff, because I was able to find other gigs that paid more. And I was able to acquire a customer base. I mean, that's what we take care of people's dogs. I'm not meeting new dogs and new people every day. I establish relationships with them. To me, that's the best side hustles, when you have a customer base, a client base that comes to you, they trust you, you trust them. Those are the best ways. I mean, I don't know the last time we talked about dumpling, Steve, but those things work. Or even YouTuber Mike Drop Barbecue, that he talks about Hum, but actually there's another one now, not Hum, so I don't want to plug the wrong one.
Right. But what Hannibal and I was seeing this comment, kind of relates to you, Hannibal, is that somebody saying, I'm still surprised Rover's still around. To me, I would say if either of them, there's two apps. There's one called Wag. I would be surprised if Wag's still around. Rover is like Dumpling or Hum, where you have to land your own clients. You have to build your own business. It's just the platform and the skeleton to do it.
Yeah. Or if you're in a neighborhood and you just tell your neighbors that you take care of dogs and they can pay you through Venmo and Zelle, like you don't necessarily need the middleman of Rover taking a percentage. So yeah, of course, apps and gig work will always be around, but you gotta have to start to try to develop some skills that you can transfer into. What you mean? I'll talk to you later, Katie. But yeah, learning a valuable skill that people will pay you for. That's a side gig. That's a side hustle, and a little bit beyond this delivering food or rideshare.
I mean, one thing for sure that I'll say after all you guys is that, I mean, no matter what, I don't care what market you're in. If you're working just one app, Kim has, since the day I've known Kim, she said multi-app, be on everything. And I have like somewhat, and then it's grown over the years. But if you're not multi-apping and you're jumping into all this, expect to be adjusting a lot and adding a lot, because I think it's like busy times. You now really have to evaluate these apps. But I will say on that same note, and I don't know, Hannibal, if you're seeing it in your market, but the illegal accounts going away is making, now, first of all, I'm in the transparency law thing now, so it shows a lot different, but it's a lot, maybe I don't see as many orders if I dash, but they're transparent and they're the best offers I've seen since, I don't know, at least in the last 2 years. Nice. Like I don't see under $2 a mile anymore, ever. Yeah. I don't know if that's because I trained the system, so that's what I like. But they might show me only half as many orders, but every one will be $2 plus and a mile. So I mean, I was showing Kim, I'm like holding back. I'm almost to 50% acceptance rate, and I don't even want it. I was in single digits for years. Like it's just weird. It's that, oh my God, I have to take this. It's actually meeting my criteria. So, but I mean, I don't know if it's illegal accounts. I don't know if it's what. I am seeing, for those of you wondering if you don't live in one of those cities, I am seeing less people who shouldn't be on the platform, and I'll just keep it that simple. I'm seeing a lot less people who were on the platform who shouldn't be than I was not too long ago. Like that's changing pretty quickly. I don't know what it'll do. But obviously that might make a big difference too, seeing a lot of people leave the space. But I'm kind of, I think the general vibe, no matter what, is that all of us are kind of saying, listen, some people are going to have great markets. Kim has a great market. You know, I have a great market for like last mile stuff. You got to find out what your market's good for. And I've said this before, but I think everybody needs to have their eyes open. And while you're doing this all day, meet people. Don't just be I don't care. I'm just doing A to B. I don't really care. Just have your eyes open and be open to maybe what else might be out there.
Definitely.
That's my take. I honestly think that a lot of people are just too closed in on, okay, I'm just going to just do this. Like, just pay attention, you know? I mean, there's other things out there. That's how I run into other apps sometimes. I see other app drivers in B2B courier places who I'm doing courier and they're doing something. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm like, is it, you know, is it this, or this last mile? And they're like, no, I'm on Senpex. What's Senpex? Like, and all of a sudden I'm learning about something new from another driver. So there's a lot out there. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for everybody for being here for 3 years. 3 years.
Time is flying by.
Kim tried to pull a divorce this morning.
And Steve, if we back up even more, you know, you can go back. You know, we did our thing on Friday nights with Jason and Bill for a year before that.
Yeah, and I've been doing the audio podcast since 2020. It'll be 5 years in May, and then I just got a thing, and and actually I have it here. It's the weakest thing ever, but it should be a bigger badge of honor. But my UberLiftDrivers.com just a few days ago hit its 8-year mark. Every single day in 8 years, there's been a post.
Congratulations, man.
So that's.
Wait, can you guys believe we've put up with him for that long?
I know, right?
Anyway, that is a wrap of the last 3 years. You guys, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you to the panelists. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to the listeners on audio after the fact. And until next time, be safe, earn smart, and
kindness is always free.
We love y'all. Peace out, everybody. Thank you.
Have a good night.